Ooh, and we're back. So yes, so Salem's Lot in the book, Mr. Barlow, he is the main head vampire, if you will. He was like he spoke, he talked, he was like a what you picture a regular vampire being. And in this movie, they just rip off Nosferatu completely. Like and not even good. At least Nosferatu spoke. This guy or Count Warlock, sorry. But yeah, at least that vampire, I mean, he looked creepy, but he actually talked. Whereas this one was just a beast. He was just, you know. So yeah, big disappointment there. I was like, really, this is. And then like I said, in the second half, it does start picking up a little bit. Like I don't want to like this is like total turd. It's not. It does pick up a little bit, in the second part of it. However, at that point, you're like, okay, we're getting going. But it's TV, so there's no blood. And this is TV in the 70s, not like today. It's not like Walking Dead, awesome. It's just like there's no blood hardly. Okay, when they kill the head vampire, I'm gonna go ahead and say because I don't give a fuck. Okay, they open the coffin up. There he is, and he wakes up. This is the head fucking vampire. Hey, vampires in general are just fucking strong. They can fly and shit. Power. Mind control. This is the head fucking vampire. When he wakes up, dude, David Saul, or I'm sorry, what was his name? Ben, I think. Pulls out like the fucking stake. The vampire raises up, but he just like pushes him back down and then starts hammering away. Struggling, like he's struggling. Like the vampire just taking it. Like not once did he just go, hey, get the fuck off, throw him off. No, he's just like, oh no, I'm getting, a stake. And it's like a fucking 2-minute thing, so he's just hammering away, like, oh, I've got you now. On the other side of the room, you got the boy. He got his, mark, I think. He's back to the cellar door. You see, and it's kind of a cool looking scene. You get the vampires starting to wake up, and they're just they're crawling toward him and everything. Kind of creepy, right? So he realizes it. They're pretty close. He shuts the door. They're going through, but there's 2 of them, right? And these are vampires with super strength. And the kid is holding them back perfectly. Like, no problem. Turns around, puts a lock on the door or whatever, puts the screwdriver, whatever it is. He locks the door. I'm like, really, bud? You would have got this launched away? Because everybody else, apparently, they get overtaken by a super strength. Dude, Straker, who's not a vampire. He's just a dude, a daywalker that helps him out, like watch person, whatever you want to call it. Like, he has super strength. Like, he picks up this one dude, and it is kind of a cool scene, and he's like, walks him over and throws him into these antlers and impales his ass. And yet, Barlow is just like, oh no, I'm getting staked. It's ridiculous. It really was. Overall, I didn't care for it. Just flat out. I watched it once, then, didn't like it. And then I watch it now, and knowing, I'm just like, okay, forget the book for a second. Just go into it like it's a regular miniseries that you're just catching for the first time. So I've done it before. Once again, Exorcist. I told you the first time I watched it, I didn't care for it hardly at all. The more I watched it, the more I liked it. I thought maybe the same thing would happen, but it's a little bit. No, it's still just piece of shit. I'm sorry. It still isn't that good. Now, I'm not recommending it at all. However, I do think, if you're a vampire fan, you're a Stephen King fan, horror fan in general, you'll probably watch it. And I think a lot of people just kind of like it because, for its time. I know there's a lot of movies I watched that when I was younger was just brilliant. And then I grow up and I realize it's a shitty movie, but I still like it because I'm just like, well, it brings back those good times. Well, I think that's what Salem's Lot is. I think it has that kind of hold on people because they're just like, I remember I liked it back then. Must like it now. So I don't know. Not a big fan. Didn't care for it. So. It did spawn a sequel, Return to Salem's Lot. I think the sequel actually may have been theatrical, but don't quote me on that. And then, yeah, it had a remake, which was better. Rob Lowe was in it, and it was like a TNT original miniseries. And I'm laughing because, TNT just usually makes shit. But anyways, they did pretty good on this one. I enjoyed it. It had a Rucker Hauer, probably butchered that name too, but fuck you. And Donald Sutherland in it. And it was like it's top notch. It had some poor CGI, but once again, the story was so good. And actually, I'm not trying to be that guy, but it does kind of follow the book a little more. Barlow's not just a retarded fucking Nosferatu ripoff. So yeah, the only high point I can really give this movie is, it had fucking Die Hard's wife Bonnie Bedelia, I think is how you pronounce her name. Fucking Die Hard's wild. All I gotta say is this, you know, Mrs. McClane. She was in it. I didn't even recognize her when I watched it. I knew she looked familiar. I was like, who the fuck is she? And then I had to actually look it up on IMDb. I'll admit it. And yeah, I was like, oh shit, that's Mrs. McClane. There it is. And I thought the interior of the Marsden house, which is the big house that this guy's afraid of, it's where the vampires move into. I thought it looked really good. You can just like it had like that Texas Chainsaw feel to it. There's like stuffed animals and like fucking like literally like the chicken bones and fucking like feathers on the ground. It had bones and feathers on the ground in this one as well. So I thought it looked pretty good. Apparently, it cost like $70,000 to construct this. So like the entire budget went to like making this awesome house. I want to say it was like $100,000 for the outside. Like it's not the same set obviously, and then $70,000 for the inside. Before I sign off on this turd, the one thing I thought was kind of interesting was I guess they went to George Romero first. They wanted him to direct it. And it was going to be theatrical, and then I guess like there was just a giant slew of vampire movies coming out. And for what reason, they were like, well, we don't want to be in that. Which I didn't quite get that. I'm like, really? Just throw your name in there, fuck it. Just go for it. But they said it was going to be a TV miniseries instead, and Romero was like, I can't do a TV miniseries. Like, it won't be, my vision or whatever reason he said no. The second guy they went to declined it as well, but then he was the one who directed the part 2 to Return to Salem, which I've never seen. Still haven't seen it. I'll check it out. Like, it can't be any worse than this piece of shit. But then the third person I went to was Toby Hooper, and the guy's just like, I'm a big Texas Chainsaw fan, and this guy, and literally like he's gonna ride that to the grave. Like literally, he'll just be like, oh, he did Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, he also did like Mangler and Toolbox Murders and Mortuary and a bunch of other nameless movies that don't even matter. I looked him up just so I can do this right here. So yeah, Salem's Lot, didn't care for. I can't remember if I mentioned it was 1979 or not, but even for its time, there's way better movies before this. Better vampire movies before this. That's all I gotta say. I'm sorry, I was not a fan. So yes, that's all I got. Yes, thank you for making this my 10th episode. Keep tuning in. That's it. Alright, I'm heading out. Peace.